Hey book fans, it's Carrie Woodward from carriesbookcorner.com, and today I'm going to go through my top picks for toddlers ages 2 to 4. So I've got a few books to go through, so I'm going to try to go quickly. All right, my favorite is the Muddle and Match series. This is the new one. This is sports, and the new one is jobs. So what they do in this book is they change the pages, because we all know when they're this age they just like to turn all of the pages and create all of these fun characters. So the character ends up looking a little different and muddled up, and then the story changes based on how they've created their character. It uses a lot of different vocabulary and alliteration, and the stories are super cute. Next up is my very first series. There are 3 of them left in this series. This is the newest one, Our World, and there's also Dinosaurs and Space. So this particular book talks about all of the different types of landscape that we have around the world, as well as gives lots of different pictures down below that they can find up in the picture, and great information. So all kinds of nonfiction, cardstock pages, and perfect for those little inquisitive souls. Next up is our Peek Inside series. The Peek Inside series is for 3+. It's a great nonfiction series, so there are flaps and information all over the place in this series. There are now 7 books in the series. This is the latest one, Space. Research supports adding illustrations and small chunks of information to nonfiction books to help children retain the information. So Usborne does that beautifully. All right, next up is our Lift and Look series. This is the newest one, Numbers. I like the Lift and Look series because it's not just a numbers book, and neither is it a colors book or just a shapes book or opposites. Those are some of the other books that are in the series, but you're going to see that there's all these flaps down at the bottom and flaps within the page as well. So there's lots and lots of hands-on learning, lots of matching, finding things, counting things, colors, all kinds of things. So this is the Lift the Flap Numbers. Next up is our award-winning and best-selling series, the Shine-a-Light books. You need a little flashlight to read these books, but they are all nonfiction. So the story starts off and presents some information and always asks a question. So this particular question is, can you see her? Talking about the baby. So when on first glance looking at the page you cannot see her, but if you shine a flashlight behind the page, it reveals the answer to the story, or to the question. So there is a question on every single page. You shine the light behind every single page and you're going to reveal the answers. Best-selling series, kiddos love it, perfect when it's paired with a flashlight for a gift. Next up is our Big Book series. So the Big Book series is also nonfiction. There are 4 fold-out pages, and each of the fold-out pages folds out to 4 feet long. So you get lots of great information on the pages, but still very it's nonfiction, so it's small chunks of information like we just talked about, so that it is easier for children to retain the information. So there's Big Book of Big Machines, of trucks, tractors, the body, dinosaurs, animals, bugs. There are 11 of them in this series. There's a bunch. So next up is our Peek Inside a Fairy Tale series. This is our brand new one, and then our older one, the Little Red Riding Hood. So you can see the intricate cutout pieces of as Little Red goes through the forest and through the fairy tale. Next up is our Lift the Flap question and answer series. So there's What is Poop, which is the brand new one, and then What Makes It Rain and How Do Flowers Grow. So these are question and answer books, so very simple text because they're meant for 3 to 4-year-olds, but great flaps on each of the pages, lots of great information still, but perfect for those little souls who are constantly asking you questions about different things. All right, next up is our Sound series. We have the very first book about the orchestra, musical nursery rhymes, jungle sounds, and garden sounds. And what I like about the new sound books is that there's an on and off switch, so you can turn them on and off. And then the sounds have been removed from the side. They used to be along the side so that you could just have your kid and they would punch all of the buttons all at the same time. Now they are required to listen to the story and then find the 2 sensory patches that are on the page to listen to the sounds. So there's great sounds embedded within every single page, and that just makes the learning even more fun because they're relating it to whatever is actually on the page they're looking at. So those are our new sound books. Okay, next up are a few activity books that are perfect for our little ones. The picture puzzle books are some of my favorites. They are basically the first Where's Waldo's for kiddos. And so there's all kinds of questions, prompts on the page itself. And so mom or dad can sit with the kiddos and ask, can you find 2 oars or find the fisherman's sweater? And so the child then looks through all of the cool pages and answers the questions. And you can even ask and find other things for them to find in the book. So this is Under the Sea Picture Puzzles. Next up is our newest in the sticker dolly dressing. This one is Little Sticker Dolly Dressing. These are reusable sticker books for little girls. There is princesses, fairies, mermaids, and ballerinas, and they dress their little ballerinas or their mermaids up and can do it over and over again because they are reusable. Next up, we have the fingerprint activities. As mommies, we all know that when they're super little, their little fingerprints are adorable. So they take their fingerprints using the color ink and put it all over the page and create little animals or little creatures or whatever it is. This is fingerprint animals. There's also fingerprint activities. That's just the normal fingerprint activities. And mommies can keep this book for a keepsake for forever to show them how little their fingerprints were at one point. Lastly, we have the pullback and the wind-up books. They are different in size, so you see that the pullback ones are a little bit littler. The pullback ones have 4 tracks, and so what they do is they take the character out of the book, so this one is a car, and they pull it back on the page, on wherever, and then it drives itself around the page and around the book. There are 4 tracks. You have to do it on a flat surface, that's why it's not really going that well for me. But there are 4 tracks in the pullback books, and depending on what else is going on in the book, like the train book, there is more storyline. So there's some story going on, and then there's 3 tracks, 3 very intricate tracks with the train book. As well as, my favorite one is the tractor, because then there's also people that you can cut out. But in the track book, you can manipulate this particular track so it changes tracks. And so they all have a little uniqueness to them as well. So if you have a question about what each of those books does and what their tracks look like, just let me know and I can find that for you. But those are my top picks for ages 2 to 4, and hopefully you saw something that you like. A lot of what I showed you are all series books, so even if you didn't see a book that I showed, like The Peek Inside Space, if you wanted dinosaurs or garden or zoo, or there's just all kinds of things. So hope you enjoyed, and thanks.